two Englishmen battle it out, Chris Melling and 6 times world snooker champion Steve Davis.
The 3-9 combination is on.
Well, this would be the perfect start for him. I think he's got to go for it because, well, does he? Can he take it to the middle left?
He can, but he's not even going to look at that. This guy wants to put one in the books. He wants to make his mark here.
He wants to do a number on Davis. Does he ever?
Does.
No bother! The dynamite start by the lad from Yorkshire.
Well, we've seen the Giants fall one after another, but that's not going to bother Steve Davis. We're way too early in the rack. Here's another look. That 9-ball teasing the left knuckle of that pocket and ricocheting in.
This kid is something else. A year ago, we were here with a kid, another Yorkshire lad who's a player. I thought Chris was bunking off school, and suddenly says, Sid, I'm still in. I'm here as a player. Made an impact a year ago, and he has hit this tournament running this year.
Well, he's turned into a real fan favorite. Everyone here has found a lot of energy in this young man. They like the way he comes to the
Second
table.
rack, Chris Melling to break, leading by 1 rack to 0.
And he certainly took care of business last time. Let's see how this rack treats him.
He's been studying Jeremy Jones's particular way of hitting this softish break. And he's working that bottom right pocket like a tyro. And he is, I think, is he on the one?
I believe he is, Sid, and he has natural shape to get on that 2-ball.
And he's got, well, I was going to say, interesting position. He's had a quick leg, a look at the balls around the red 3.
He's going to play the 2 in the upper left pocket. He could have chosen to play it in the same pocket as the 1, but boy, this man likes to move that cue ball around the table.
No fear. Using as a sear, an 8. I think it's just less than 8 mil tip here. This is a English pool as we play in pubs here, reds and yellows cue. I said, are you going to use the pool cue? He says, I don't need to. He is not in the slightest an arrogant young man. He's just got that self-belief that you get nowhere in sport without.
Yes, he's certainly not lacking in confidence. And that cue stick, moving these heavy balls with a 12-ounce cue, it's quite a task, but he's doing a great job of it. Now, he got an unfortunate roll there, Sid. The 9-ball rolled up on the 6, so when he gets to that point in the rack, he's going to have to look at the carom, hitting the 6-ball first and pocketing the 9 with the cue.
Carom is a cannon shot, as we would see in snooker and billiards. And it's a race to 9, and I mean race. He has come out hitting the ground like the Green Berets.
See, this is where I would say the weight of this cue is going to work against him. He's really got to pop this ball to get it across the table, and that's hurt him. That has hurt him. He hit that ball so hard he could not hit it with pocket speed, and it jawed out. Had he been able to hit it softer, it would have fallen right down for him. Here we go, back and forth between the knuckles and out into the table. And now Steve Davis, first trip to the table.
Romford Slim picked up a cue run about October '94 for the Moscone Cup, and with typical application and imagination, Davis has gained the respect of Rempe, of Archer, of the great Strickland himself, as a man, particularly his ability to maneuver the white with immense precision.
This is one amazing pool player. Could be the very first man to hold 2 major world titles in different cue sports.
6 times world snooker champion. And, ooh, I'd like to be here. My heart rate will stand it, Jerry, if he did hoist the World Pool Trophy.
That would really be a scene. This place would go crazy.
Feather tickle orange.
Played the safe. There's experience. Rather than take a chance at slicing that 5, he's put Chris in a situation here where he's got to rely on the fates to give him a good outcome after this kick.
From Keighley in Yorkshire. Famous pronunciation by the late Eddie Waring of Keighley.
Well, the young Mr. Melling has measured out what he wants to do. Let's see if he can come up with a favorable result. An important shot now. What a great shot. If he comes up with that 7 as a blocker, as it appears he has, then Steve will only be able to have a bit of a ball to work with. But if Steve can see it, Steve can make it.
Nicknamed the Buzzer is Melling. We'll find out if Sting is part of his ammunition. No fear playing Steve Davis at this at all. Said he were looking forward to it.
Steve has once again chosen the safety route. He's left 9 feet between Chris's cue ball and that object ball. A little test of nerves here.
Top his group. Beat the very talented Australian Quentin Han 5-4, did Chris. And he doesn't care how big they are.
Look at this fella play. However, he came down into a bad situation here. He needs to be able to see the left side of the 6 ball to be able to play a good safety here and tie that cue ball up between the 7 and the 9. He was able to do that. Does it pot? No. And I don't believe there's enough of an alley there for Steve to make this ball. No, there is not.
Davis, a year ago, as you'll all probably remember, beat Reyes from 8-2 down. Then he beat Takahashi, then he beat Suke, world champions all.
You can tell the respect the players have for this man. A lot of them call him Mr. Davis. Right now, Mr. Davis is in a bit of a fix.
They called Jefferson Davis Mr. Davis. Look where he ended up.
Wound up wearing his wife's clothes, trying to escape from the Yanks, as a matter of fact.
Well, I wouldn't wish that on Steve. And here we go.
Well, he's left Chris a great opportunity here to go up 2-0.
I think you made a great point before, though. He's using a 7.5 mil tip on a very light cue. What exactly can go wrong with that?
So much can go wrong because he has to move his arm so much faster to get cue ball speed than the guys who are playing with a cue that has greater mass. It's harder to transfer any energy into the cue ball with that light cue. But he's deposited the 9-ball, and he's taken a 2-0 lead over Steve Davis. Well, he's made another ball in that corner pocket, and the 1 ball is going to park itself right up there in very easy territory for a start-off pot. You're in that pocket watching the balls come towards you, banging each other around and finding the bottom of the hole.
It's very ominous for Steve Davis that Chris is studying Jeremy Jones's break, this softish break. He looks as though he has got the productive break tipped.
He truly does. And now a little bottom right English on this cue ball to bring him back across the table for the pink.
Well, that was beautifully weighted for this shot on the pink.
It was, and he gets a natural roll here to get shape on the next ball.
Well, that one hesitated at the step. Said hello to the milk.
Now the 8 ball only has a couple of pockets available to it. He was going to try and put it in the same pocket he's getting ready to put this 6 ball in. Cue ball out. Perfectly in line. This young man's on a roll.
Doing a number on Steve Davis. And the number 666. He's known as the animal to the other players. They say he takes no prisoners. He's got massive respect and massive talent.
Chris Melling goes up 3-0.
And look where he's left the 1. This is fantastic pool from Melling. Fantastic. He studied how Jeremy Jones, the great American, was doing this when Jeremy rattled off about 8 or 9 similar breaks. It means he can, because we've got the side of the rack now, given a perfect frozen rack, he can work out exactly the pace. And if he can absolutely repeat this shot, Steve Davis is going to have a roasting. Has he rolled that hard enough?
Yes, he has. And he's left himself a shot on the 5. But he's got to screw way back for this 6 ball. Boy, he makes that look easy.
Well, it's just saying he's using the 7.5 mil tip on a 12-ounce cue. So he's got to have an eye like a hawk.
Oh, his eye is beautiful. An easy out. And Steve Davis just hasn't had a chance yet. This is reminiscent of our last match when Archer sat for so long. Now Davis is feeling the comfort of the chair. And it stings, baby. It stings. And Chris Melling has put another rack up 4-0 over Steve Davis.
Davis twiddles the chalk. He's got the eyes of a dying lizard. He's focused, but there's no good being focused if the bloke is rattling along like Melling is.
He's made another ball in
and
that
look
same
where he's
pocket.
left the 1.
And again, the 1 ball just sets up perfectly for him. At the same time, let's not forget that last year Steve Davis got into so many holes. It was unbelievable, and he crawled out of every one of them.
Against the best, against Reyes, Sukiya, Takahashi. So Davis can do a lot of damage if he gets in, but the way it's going, I think Chris Melling has got no intention of leaving that table till the frame scores 9-zip.
But Steve was down 8-2 last year to Efren Reyes.
Correct.
And came back and won 9-8.
But one of the problems is, unless he gets the sweet hit on the pack first, and if he gets a hit at the pack, he will have no time to experiment. He will have to, if he gets into this game, he'll have to be potting from the pack straight away from the minute he's on the table.
And so far, this young man has shown no inclination to let Steve stand up.
I'm not sure Steve Davis will ever had about 12-14 minutes on bays like this.
Boy, this guy, he's a dead eye. Nineball will deposit in the lower right corner, and a huge 5-0 lead now for Chris Melling.
Welcome back to Cardiff and highlights of the World Pool Championship. Snooker legend Steve Davis up against Yorkshireman Chris Melling. Davis has to come back from being 5-0 down. We pick up the action in the 14th rack. Davis 5-8 down.
Taking his time. Looking at what?
He's still looking at that 6-8. He's got to solve that puzzle. Now, boy, is he going to play a 3-way combination and pocket the 6, or is he going to play a safety? It looks like he's going to tuck the cue ball behind the 3, put the 1 ball down here by the 6 and 8. Then when he gets ball in hand with the next shot, he can make the 1 and break out that cluster at the same time. Talk about planning ahead. Here you go. However, well, he can still do it. He wanted to play that 1 in that lower right corner. Now he'll have to play it in the upper right corner. But he can do that and break that cluster apart and still get shape on the 2 ball. Of course, that's given that Chris doesn't make a hit on the 1 here. Chris may break this cluster up himself when he goes for this. He could do the work for Steve. There's that experience coming through.
Well, he needed something to stop Melling, who still only needs these balls to win the match.
A key shot here, folks. And he's come up short. Now the cluster is broken up because there'll be no cluster once Steve takes off the 1 ball.
Any suggestion of forcing the 3rd foul?
Oh, that's true. Chris is on 2 fouls now. If Steve chooses, he can play another safety. And if Chris doesn't make the hit this time, that would give the rack to Steve. And he's got a great chance at putting Chris nailed right up against this 8 ball. That's what he's done. What a smart play.
So unless Melling hits this yellow with the white, the rack goes to Davis.
And there's real long odds on hitting this 1 ball.
Davis digging deep into every trench of his experience here to stop the Yorkshireman getting this vital rack.
But he made the hit. What a shot.
Was it ever?
To pull that off under pressure. And he's returned the safety to Steve Davis. Take a look at this. There's a shot to put in your book.
And
Chris knows he pulled one out there.
up and it's tight in here, lad. Davis really did appreciate that shot.
Well, Chris has shown us some shots tonight. He's got to get to a rail, and barely does. And another safety war has begun. These balls are really well set for safeties. A lot of balls grouped together gives you a wall to hide behind.
Absolutely, and just to remind you, if Melling can get aggressive or a bit lucky or whatever and take the remaining balls, he takes the match.
That ball almost went in for him. But now Steve Davis comes to the table with an open shot. Here's another look. 1 ball heads up toward that right corner pocket and just barely misses.
Touches the knuckle and he gasps. He could do a bit more gasping, could Chris? Because if there's one thing that brings out the best in Steve Davis, it's a ruckus. It's a tight one.
The challenge here is not the 2 and the 3. It's the balls that are more tightly gathered down here on the bottom half of the table. I believe that he has 2 open pockets for the 5, possibly 3. That's the challenge that awaits him. Apparently it goes past the 6.
Yeah, orange.
He can
On the
use
left.
the 9 ball to stop the cue ball, but he doesn't want the 9 to tie up with the 8, so he hits it gently.
So, a couple of
Could you
good
quieten down a
breaks.
bit over there, please?
And we could get a tied match and go to a sudden death as soon.
Steve's tenacity has really paid off for him. He's going to be within 2 games of young Melling. Looking for the rake.
Started like a tree and crashed away. First 3 racks beautifully hitting the rack, getting them in. And Davis got a chance. Slow down, stop the charge. Still stopping.
A great job by Steve Davis to take that rack.
Gets the break going. Chris is in real bother.
I don't understand this. He's going back to the other side of the table that did not work for him before.
Well, maybe he's had a flush of genius type inspiration.
And it worked. The 3-ball goes right in the pocket. The 1-ball, has it given him enough of an angle?
Wow.
Take a look at it.
The risk in changing the side. And then to get that orange and red in.
What a chance he took. It hadn't worked for him before. He changes back. It works like a charm.
And what must be going through Melling's head when he saw Davis change to such good effect?
That was a marvelous cut shot. Look at the position he gets on this 2-ball. At the same time, he eliminated the problem of the 6 and 9 being too close together.
Well, the Sorcerer's Apprentice went off like a train. And now I'll give you 2 words. Cue Sorcerer.
There's the apprentice. He's learned well. And he wanted to be about a good 10 inches further over to the right on this shot, but still not that much of a problem. He'll play the 6 in the upper right corner pocket. Probably roll the cue ball over the rail and back out to the center table for the 7-ball in the lower right corner pocket. He's played it in the side. I didn't think he had that angle. Now the 7 will go in the same pocket. The 8-ball will go in that upper right.
And I can't let go how ominous it would be for it is for Chris that those 2 balls from the break hurtled into the right-hand pocket. If Davis can repeat that break twice on the trot.
He's liking this side pocket. Keeps throwing balls in there. I don't think he'll put this one there. This one, lower right corner.
Got possession with enormous use of left-hand side. Here we go then.
Steve Davis pulls within 1, and now it's anybody's match, and both men know it.
Here we go.
Rack
Very
16,
important
Steve Davis
shot.
to break, trailing by 7 racks to 8.
This is a great example of the fable of the tortoise and the hare. Chris Melling got off to such a fast start, and Steve Davis.
Same shot!
Same shot.
Groundhog Day! It's the same picture. Ominous for Melling.
Look at this. 2 balls racing for the hole. And if Steve had just pulled that cue ball up on the other side of the side pockets, he'd have a much easier go of it, but it's a pretty easy go for this man anyway.
Looks like we're going to the hill. Why was the leopard at 27,000 feet up the snows of Kilimanjaro? Why was it there? Because it loved the experience. Davis loves this game, and Nineball loves the game. And you've seen why. Loves the challenge.
And the final challenge of this rack is the 6-ball. As you can see, he's got to clear the 8 to be able to pot that 6.
But one slip and he could let in the beast from Kisley.
You remember he missed a shot similar to this earlier with the same ball down the same rail, but he put that right out of his mind. Oh, you know, he wanted to be able to draw this back for the 7. Now he's going to have to work a change of plan or jack way up on that cue stick. Nope. Apparently he can follow right over to the rail and back.
There's the top spin. Right, brown 7, top left. Looks like we're going to the hill, and what an amazing last rack. What an amazing. Well, Efren Reyes had him at 8-2 a year ago.
And this thriller becomes a double hiller. Steve Davis, 2 more balls to take us to 8-8.
So exciting, the jury's waxing poetical. The thriller could be a double hiller. Here we go.
We've got it, folks. It just doesn't get any better than this. Two great players with only 9 balls, separating one of them from victory and the other from death.
Yes,
Final
they are
rack,
nail-biting.
Steve Davis to break.
Rolf Suke there in the foreground.
And Andreas Roszkowski, who earlier played such a beautiful match against Earl Strickland.
And put Earl out.
He's got the ball down. Will the 1 ball clear?
Ooh, yes, he's got a very... Oh, no, it's a thin clip to the right. You see, that could decide the fate of Chris Melling here, who was racing away with the game. Davis suddenly changed. He swapped sides without any fear. He's getting the breakdown, and the young Yorkie can only sit and watch and hope that dangerous Davis slips up.
Chris Melling had this match in his hands. Steve Davis had 1 foot in the grave and has climbed out into the sunlight.
He looked deep 6. Dead, but not buried, did Davis. He has used every ounce of talent, experience, and psychology to get back at the young World 8-ball champ.
He's not been given the easiest table to work with. And the 2 ball is a problem, and the 3 ball is a big problem. To get to that 3 ball now, he's going to have to go around the world. He's going to have to ride the rails. He's taking a look at this. The window is very, very narrow that he has to fit into. He may choose to really juice this ball up with right English and come right back off that single rail beside the 2 and try and fit in that window. His other choice is to spin all the way around the table. He's gone with the right English to fit into the window, and he's gotten there, Sid.
Well, cranking it up, giving it juice, cutting it gentle. He's got the entire armory. And the talk was once, well, he says himself, me break's not right, me break's not right. But the thing that started the recovery road against Melling was the break.
Yes, indeed. Has he come out far enough? No, he wanted to be out farther on this shot. This is a toughie. I don't think the cut is there.
No, the cut is more than a right angle. The cut is backwards.
Unless he goes to the long side of the table here and decides to play it in the lower right corner. He hasn't decided to do that. He's got a good safety here, though, Sid.
Let's see it, son.
He can move this cue ball off this ball and over into here, and he's got these balls as a blocker because the 5 ball will come right back up into here.
All right.
That's what he's done.
Safety.
He's played the safety, and he has tied this boy up. He's tied. Chris Melling is hog-tied. He can hit this ball, but there's not much he can do with it. Here's another look at this. Look how close Steve Davis gets that white ball to that black ball.
The perfect example of what made Rempe and Strickland gasp. His cue ball control is phenomenal. It'll be so easy for Chris to dolly this up.
Oh, that was so close to being a beautiful shot. That was close to perfection.
If the white had held near the cush, it would have been a lockout. As it is, there is a trickle, a long trickle top left with the orange.
If he gets on this 6 ball, it's over. Oh boy. I don't think Chris will be getting up again. And he knows it.
End of a dream for the young Yorkshireman.
Once.
6 times world champion Steve Davis looked on the edge of the precipice about 30 minutes ago, but now he is doing exactly the act he did on the Great Efron Race a year ago.
Only this 7-ball stands between Steve and the finish.
Went off like an absolute train at Melling.
Steve's going to take his time. And look at this one. This is not a shot to rush.
Well, no. If it leaves the cush too much, it could bobble and stick on the hole.
He's missed it.
He's missed it.
Chris Melling is alive.
We said it could bobble. Mind, then again, this shot could bobble. He's not hesitating. He's got his trusty cue that won in the World 8-Ball Championship. It's in the heart of the pocket. He does the back and forth shot. And we are at match point to Melling as he draws beautifully. And the 22-year-old 8-ball world champion takes Davis. What a match! What a match! It had everything! Chris Melling of Yorkshire! They'll be cocking their creels in Keighley, Yorkshire! Their lad has taken Davis.
Let's get confirmation then on a day of shocks here in Cardiff. Efran Reyes of the Philippines losing to Niels Fayen of the Netherlands by 9 racks to 5. Another big name, another world champion crashing out as Earl the Pearl Strickland is beaten by Andreas Rotkowski. And the major shock of the day, the 6 times world snooker champion Steve Davis beaten by the young Yorkshireman Chris Melling 9 racks to 8.